Jill Eckersley
And Terry Eckersley.
and Terry Eckersley. I've written a book on pleasant boundaries. If you want to go in depth and really learn about boundaries, how to set them, how to reset them, how to set pleasant boundaries, if you want a great life, dig in deep. But for now, we're just going to share with you things that we've been learning about boundaries, aren't we, Jill?
We certainly are.
Do you want to tell the people?
Oh, yes, I suppose I can really. Yeah, it's boundaries. You might think, well, what are boundaries? I think one of the best examples that we've heard about that, as we were discussing this with a friend of ours who found this extremely helpful, is to think about your own property. Think of the boundary lines that are around that. Could be that it's got a fence, let's say, around it, and that if someone or something then began to encroach upon those boundaries, you would do something about it. You wouldn't just allow somebody to, pitch a tent in your front garden and begin living there, would you? And doing whatever they want, throwing the rubbish all over the place. You'd be, excuse me, this is my property. You need to leave. This is not for you. Um, and, you wouldn't allow a perfect stranger to come into your house and start messing it up and helping themselves to the fridge or to your, to your home. You just
So,
wouldn't.
so Jill, yeah,
Mm,
we understand that. We don't want
okay.
that to happen, and we'd stop people and
Mm,
throw rubbish out and all this. So, how do we stop people doing that in our lives, in the workplace, in families,
mm.
in church, in relationships? How do we stop people?
I think sometimes we ourselves have to communicate our own boundaries, don't we? Not saying yes to things we want to say no to, and vice versa. And actually learning to communicate with people that if you do want to be part of something, just saying, yes, I would, but I'm available at this time, or I can do this. And I think it's good communication, isn't it? Making sure that someone's aware of what you want to be involved in, but also communicate and say, do you know, I'm really not available for that.
Yes.
And you don't have to give them a long explanation as to why. Just I appreciate as you building relationships, the way your conversation go is different. But yeah, if you're in a workplace, you have set times to work. Um, then you have to sort of make sure that if you're not available, to communicate that effectively as well,
Yes.
because you're working with lots of people sometimes, or not so many people, um, and at all times we need to communicate, don't we? What we can do, what we have done, to help a flow. Because if communication breaks down, this is where things can end up getting a little bit messy.
That's good. And we're talking about availability there or not availability. But it's the same thing with people disrespecting you or not
Mm,
talking to you nice or
mm,
kindly
hmm.
or not doing what they're asked to do or
Yeah.
told to do if you're a
Hmm.
leader or a manager, if somebody asks you in authority above you doing it. And it's communicating that. And a great phrase that I love, and I've spoke to friends of mine in another organisation about this and they love it, is you're at least 50% responsible for every relationship you're in.
Yeah.
So, in good marriage guidance counselling, if both parties are at least 50% responsible, then there's hope and you can
Mm,
bring change. And otherwise, it's always blame shifting, it's always
mm,
blaming the other party. But when you point at the other party, you've got three fingers pointing back.
mm,
And we're at least 50% responsible for the way that people treat us or don't treat us because
hmm,
we've allowed that. And so
mm,
all relationships are about negotiating and having good assets in the bank of our relationships, but also learning, hey, I'm not happy the way this relationship is going, so I'm going to communicate why I'm not happy, why I am happy. Let's see what they're happy about, what they're not happy about, and let's come into a
mm,
balanced relationship through communication, through
mm,
establishing what we like, what we don't like, what we tolerate, what we won't tolerate. Because whatever you don't confront will control you.
it's true.
And that is all down to us. So that's why I like the phraseology positive confrontation, because you can do it kindly, nicely. You can sit down with somebody. I'd just like a chat with you. You can have a cup of tea, take them out for a coffee if you want, talk it through. What's great? What's not so good? Let's tweak it and let's make things much better. Let's have more pleasant boundaries in and around our lives. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you soon for more power tips.